How's it going, Jeremiahans? In today's video, I will be talking about the 7 weird habits of strange Singapore people. Having traveled extensively to numerous Southeast Asian as well as European countries, there are really some little eccentric practices and habits of Singapore people that I don't see anywhere else in the world that I visit. If you're new here, my name is Jeremy C, and in my channel I make videos about music, life in Singapore, as well as fast food reviews. If you enjoy content like this, make sure you subscribe and smash that notification bell icon to not miss out any videos. So one of the weird habits of Singaporeans is the culture of chopping seats. What is chopping seats? Chopping seats is basically using a packet of pocket tissue and you place it on the table at hawker centers, eating places, to mark your territory, to tell people that you have taken that seat and no one else is allowed to sit there while you go off and queue for your food, and when you come back, your seat is still available there. To a lot of foreigners, that might seem like a very ugly side of Singapore, a rude side, discourteous side. Why would you be reserving a seat and depriving someone who has already got their food of a seat when you should be looking for a seat after you have got hold of your food? So when you come to Singapore and you see a packet of tissue or maybe some keys or a staff pass that is laid out on the table, do not sit on those seats unless you want to set yourself up for some argument with the person who has reserved the seat. The next weird habit of Singaporeans is that everyone is almost related to you, related in that sense in open inverted commas. So whenever you see someone who is more senior than you, you address them as uncle or auntie. Anywhere else in the world, an uncle is somebody who has blood relations to you, or an auntie is someone who has blood relations to you. But here in Singapore, anyone who is older than you, you just address them as uncle or auntie. So for example, if you're going to the food stall and you want to order some food, uncle, can I have a plate of chicken rice? You know, obviously you're not related to that person who's selling chicken rice, but that's how it goes. Or if you pop into a taxi, you know, you would address that taxi driver as taxi uncle. Uncle, can you take me to the airport? So this really is a mark of respect for someone who's more senior than you. So do not be taken aback or be surprised if somebody who is younger than you addresses you by uncle or auntie the next time you visit Singapore. Point number 3 has got to do with the air conditioning in Singapore. You know, Singapore is a massively hot country, and most of the time it is in excess of 30 degrees Celsius during the daytime, and it's sweltering day and night, as that's why I'm sweating even though I am filming in an air-conditioned room right now. But there is one peculiarity of Singapore air-conditioned places, and that is they really like to make it extremely Arctic cold. So you will not be surprised that there will be actually people who will be carrying around winter clothing, winter jackets, or even scarves when they head over to the cinema or in their working office or even to an eating place or restaurants. That is because the air conditioning is expected to be blasting really cold air, usually as near to 20 degrees or even 19 degrees as much as possible. And it is almost like a winter kind of weather in some of the other countries. So this is a peculiarity that I realized in Singapore, and you know, I don't really like it because you are going from a warm place and you step into a very cold place, and that has a tendency for people to get sick quite often, but I suppose you just get used to it. So that is something you might want to note the next time you're in Singapore. Carry around a light jacket, and when you enter into an air-conditioned place, you will definitely be needing that jacket. The fourth weird thing that I experienced in Singapore since a child till now, which I haven't seen in any other country, is that we actually eat some of our ice cream with a slice of bread. So we would actually take a slice of bread and chuck that solid piece of ice cream in between. And this is usually sold by ice cream vendors, or we call them ice cream uncles, who will be pushing around their pushcart outside schools, near malls, on Orchard Road, our most famous shopping belt. And you know, that's how we eat our ice cream, which I haven't seen anywhere else happen before. So the next time you head to Singapore, make sure you look out for this ice cream uncle and give this bread and ice cream sandwich little combination a go. And who knows, you might actually like it. The fifth strange and weird thing in Singapore you might encounter has got to do with plastic bags and drinks. So whether we are drinking cold drinks or hot drinks, there is this little plastic bag that you can carry with a little tiny plastic string handle, and you can sip your drink, whether it's a hot coffee or a cold Coke. And this is really very useful. Sometimes they may tie it up, sometimes they don't tie it up, and you just hang it. And you can hang it in your car instead of having a cup holder. So that's a really convenient thing about that. And I don't really see that when I go to European countries or the more developed countries. Apparently it's only a Singapore or maybe Southeast Asian thing. I still remember that as a very young child, maybe 6 or 7 years old, I had to make some pocket money by stringing that little plastic string onto that plastic bag that people use for drinks. And maybe for about 1,000 of those bags, I would make like 10 cents for stringing 1,000 of these bags up. So the next time you head to Singapore and you order a drink for takeaway, do not be surprised if it comes in a little plastic bag. And the sixth strange thing about Singapore has got to do with the very consumer-oriented society that it's in. As you know, Singapore is very economically driven, and shopping is one of the things that we are famous for. And Christmas decorations starts to go up as early as October in Singapore. That is correct. A massive 2 whole months before Christmas is about to happen, you will see the streets filled with Christmas decorations. The shops will be filled with Christmas decoration. The radio stations might start to play Christmas carols, and shops will start to sell things related to Christmas, having the red and green theme all over the place. That is how early Christmas starts here. The retailers are just milking it for all it is worth. So if you want to experience some of that Christmassy ambience in Singapore, you don't have to wait till December. You can even pop over in late October or early November, and you can actually see that Christmas might actually just be full-blown in most parts of Singapore. The seventh weird thing about Singapore that foreigners might find a little bit disconcerting at first is that Singapore is such a melting pot of different cultures. We have road signs and train station signs, bus signs. They are in 4 major languages, which is in English, in Mandarin, in Tamil, and in Malay. We are such a multicultural society, and that is reflected in our language. If you do not know by now, in Singapore we speak Singlish, so do not be surprised if in one single sentence you might find 4 different languages in that single sentence. Let me give you one example, and I want you to pause this video and figure out what you think this sentence I'm saying is about. Oi, you want go kopitiam ci ma? Pause this video right now for a couple of seconds and try to figure out what it is I just said. So this is very, very common in Singapore, and if you are a true blue Singaporean, you would understand exactly what I'm talking about, no matter what your race or your language is, whether you are Malay, Indian, Chinese, or Eurasian, right? You would understand what I just said. So basically what I just did was to ask if somebody wanted to go to the coffee shop or the hawker center to eat. So what I said was, oi, you want, and that is in English, you want to go kopitiam. Kopitiam is basically a Singapore pronunciation of kopi, which is a Malay word for coffee. Tiam is a Hokkien or Fujian, China, Fujian province pronunciation of a shop. And ci ma is Chinese. So you can see you have English, you have Malay, and you have the colloquial dialects as well as Mandarin in one single perfect sentence. And having traveled to so many different countries, I haven't heard a language that has this much of a different languages just mixed into one single sentence, and everybody is switching to and fro to these different languages without even realizing it. And the last thing that I find strangely weird in Singapore is our obsession with acronyms. That is correct. In Singapore, you might be lost if you are not familiar with a lot of the acronyms that we use here. We use it for road names, for expressways here, for government bodies, for schools, and literally for anything that you can think of. Singapore would usually have an acronym for these names of places. And that reflects on the Singapore's people's desire for efficiency. So they like to truncate everything, and that is also a result of our Singlish language, which is a very efficient way of truncating our sentences to just the bare necessities. Let me give you an example, right? If you were to hop into a taxi, you would tell the uncle, take the PIE via the CTE going to the AYE before reaching the destination. To someone who's not local, those just sounds foreign. What is PIE, CTE, and AYE? So all our expressway in Singapore have a 3-letter acronym. So PIE stands for Pan Island Expressway, ECP, East Coast Parkway, and we have CTE, Central Expressway, and KPE, which is Kallang Paya Lebar Expressway, and a lot of different road names that we have acronyms for. Even for our government bodies, for example, HDB, which stands for Housing Development Board, URA, Urban Redevelopment Authority. We have LTA, which is the Land Transport Authority, MOF, Ministry of Finance. So all these acronyms just goes by and just rolls off Singaporeans' tongue like no one's business. And when we're talking about schools, schools, we have SMU, NTU, NIE, and ITE, and to someone who's not local, they would have absolutely no idea what all these mean. And to be really immersed into the Singapore culture, and if you want to stay here, you would definitely want to know all these acronyms and what they mean. If you found this video interesting, make sure you share with your friends, leave a comment below, and give it a big thumbs up. Till the next time, bye-bye.